Dadari Jaya Girivadadari Jaya Gopinavalabha Jaya Girivadadari Jaya Girivadadari Yasodananjana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodananjana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Gideva Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Yasodananjana Jabrajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Anachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Giridhavardhari Jaya Girivaradari Yasodananjana Braja Janana Ranjana Jaya Rajana Ranjana Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Pachumuna Vinadari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vishvacharya Shila Prabhupada ki jai. Shila Prabhupada Vivitiya Acharya Shila Prabhupada ki jai. Jamuna ki jai, Ganga Munina ki jai. Mayapur Dham, Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Narottam Das Thakur ki jai. Haridas Thakur ki jai. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Sityananda, Shri Advaita Gadhar Shri Sadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Manor. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 7, verse 38. Purushacha samanesthanam sarupam vaparasya Jannam Janagaram Yatat Guru Sishya Parojanam Purushyascha Susdanam Sarupam Vaparasya Jannam Janaganam Yatat Guru Sishya Parojanam
Purushasya samsthanam
Word for word. Purusaya of the living entity. Cha also. Samistanam existence. Sarupam identity. Va Eva or Parasya of the Supreme. Cha also. Janam knowledge. Cha also. Nigaranam in the matter of the Upanishads. Yat, that, tat, the same, guru, spiritual master, sishya, disciple, projanam, necessity. Translation. What are the truths regarding the living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead? What are their identities? What are the specific values in the knowledge of the Vedas? And what are the necessities for the spiritual master and his disciples? Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Ijai. The living entities are constitutional servitors of the Lord, who can accept all kinds of service from anyone. It is clearly declared, Bhagavad Gita 5:29, that the Lord is the supreme enjoyer of all the benefits of all sacrifices and penances, the proprietor of all that is manifest, and the friend of all living entities. That is his real identity. Therefore, when the living entity accepts his supreme proprietorship and acts in that attitude, he resumes his real identity. In order to elevate the living entity to this standard of knowledge, there is a necessity of spiritual association. The bona fide spiritual master desires that his disciples knows the process of rendering transcendental service to the Lord. And the disciples should also know that they have to learn about the eternal relationship between God and the living entity from a self-realized soul. To discriminate transcendental knowledge, one must retire from mundane activities on the strength of enlightenment in knowledge in terms of Vedic wisdom. That is the sum and substance of all questions in this verse. Om Jnana Slakaya Tatsumena Tasmai Shri Gure Namaha. I was born after my spiritual master for my Bhakti Church, Govinda Maharaj, and all the previous acharyas. Hare Krishna. So it says in Prabhupada's purport, now what are the truth, in the translation, what are the truths regarding the living entities and the Supreme Person of Godhead? What are their identities? What is the specific values of the knowledge of the Vedas? And what is the necessities of the spiritual master and disciples? So, first we have to establish our constitutional position. To be servitors of the Lord. So, we know the Bhagavad Gita, but I don't know how many of us have read Srila Prabhupada's introduction to the Bhagavad Gita. And my realization is that if you understand the introduction of the Bhagavad Gita, you will understand the secret of the Bhagavatam will be revealed to you. So in page 4 and 5, Prabhupada writes, he tells Arjuna that he is relating the supreme secret to him, because Arjuna is his devotee and his friend. The purport is that Bhagavad Gita is a treatise which is especially meant for the devotee of the Lord. There are 3 classes of transcendentalists, namely Jnani, the Yogi, and the Bhakta, or the impersonalists. The meditator and the devotee. Here, the Lord clearly tells Arjuna that he is making him the first receiver of a new parampara, the elliptic succession, because of the old succession was broken. It was the Lord's wish, therefore, to establish another parampara in the same line of thought that was coming down from the sun gods to others, and that his wish that his teachings will be disputed anew by Arjuna. He wanted Arjuna to be the authority in understanding the Bhagavad Gita. So we see that Bhagavad Gita is instructed to Arjuna especially because Arjuna was the devotee of the Lord, a direct student of Krishna and his intimate friend. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita is best understood by a person who has the qualities similar to Arjuna's. That is to say, he must be a devotee in a direct relationship with the Lord. As soon as one becomes a devotee of the Lord, he also has a direct relationship with the Lord. That is a very elaborate spiritual subject matter, but it is stated that a devotee is in a relationship with the Lord, with the Supreme Person of Godhead, in one of 5 different ways. One may be a devotee in a passive state, one may be a devotee in an active state, one may be a devotee as a friend, one may be a devotee as a parent, one may be a devotee as a conjugal lover. Arjuna was in a relationship with the Lord as a friend. Of course, there is a gulf difference between his friendship and the friendship in the material world. This transcendental friendship, which cannot be had by anyone, of course, everyone has a particular relationship with the Lord, and that relationship is evoked by the perfection of devotional service. But in the present status of our life, not only have we forgotten the Supreme Lord, but we have forgotten our eternal relationship. Every living entity out of many billions and trillions of living entities has a particular relationship with the Lord eternally. That is called Sarup. By the process of devotional service, one can revive that Sarup. That is called Sarup Siddhi, perfection of one's constitutional position. So that is our constitutional position. that we have an eternal direct relationship with Krishna. In either one of the five eternal relationships. And the process is given by how to come to this, as it says here at the end, perfection of one's constitutional position. Bhaktivedanta Thakur, in one of his books, he describes 3 fundamental tattvas: Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prajna. And the word Prajna is the last word in the. It's also mentioned in the text and the translate and the word for word. So Sambandha means relationship, and Abhideya means bhakti, and Prajna means, as it says here, necessity, that is the Prajna, that is the goal of life. Now, in this book called Jaiva Dharma, there is 10 what they call section called the Dasmula Tattva. 10 tattvas, 10 fundamental tattvas. And so how Bhaktivedanta Thakur how he breaks it down is that the first verse is the pranam, the sastra, the Vedic culture, the Vedic verse, Vedic conclusion. Then from 2 to 8 is the Sambandha Tattva, that's the relationship. Then 9 is the Abhideya. And 10 is the Prajna, the goal of life. So the And Sri Jiva Goswami, in his 6 essays, there's some the Sandhavas, he says there's 3 principles of the same. I said Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prajna. Sambandha, our relationship to reality, Hari Leela. Abhideya, the method to realize it, Hari Kirtan. And Prajna, the result of realizing it. And so therefore, as it says that Prabhupada said, that we have 5 types of relationship. And this Sambandha Tattva, put it in a simple way, is that the interrelationship between Krishna, the Jiva, and Maya. And then the Abhideya is bhakti, devotional service. As I heard the other day, someone put it in another way, that the service related to one's relationship. And then the projan is the goal of life, the prime necessity of life. But one thing has in common these 5 relationships. It is based on love. It's not based on anything else. It's simply based on love. Whatever avana, whatever ashram we're in, the relationship with Krishna must be based on love. Because to go back to Godhead, to go back to go to the spiritual world, we have to come to the platform of love. And spiritual master. Yeah. And it's what in Adi Leela 784, it says, Krishna Kaviraj Goswami, he says, Krishna Vashayakya Preme Param Purushasahi Yara Age Trana Chula Chari Parushaha. Religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation are known as the 4 goals of life. But before love of God, the 5th and highest goal, these appear insignificant as a straw in the street. So these so-called 4 goals of life, they're just material. They won't lead to love of Godhead, which is the prime necessity of life. And once we're established in our relationship with Krishna, then we come to the platform of devotional service. Where's he gone? Yeah, it says here also in Adi Leela, chapter 1, verse 90. The darkness of ignorance is called Ketava, the way of cheating, which begins with religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. So therefore, if we're striving and searching for these four kinds of activities, you can say we're being cheated. We're being cheated of the love of the prime goal of the prime necessity of life, which is to love Krishna. And I'm looking for one verse specifically. If I can find, it was here. Here it is, yeah. This is from, again, Chaitanya Adi Leela 4:41. The appearance and reason for Lord Chaitanya. Prema rasana rasya ketarati asvadana ragmag bhakti loke karachita prachana rasika sheka krishna param karuna eduhinete ote ichicha ugamam. That's 15 and 16. Sorry. The Lord desired to appear. Was born from two reasons. He wanted to taste the sweet essence of the mellows of love of God, and he wanted to propagate devotional service in the world and on the platform of spontaneous attraction, which is known as supremely jubilant and most merciful to all. So this is the reason for one Lord Chaitanya's appearance. This first verse, you can say, sums up the appearance of Lord Chaitanya's appearance. To give Raganuga Bhakti, which is spontaneous. And just like, of course, Vaidhi Bhakti is there as well. We can't ignore Vaidhi Bhakti, but for those who are serious in spiritual life, we have to go beyond Vaidhi Bhakti, the rules and regulations, and therefore the adhikar for going beyond the rules and regulations. We don't ignore the rules and regulations, no. We don't ignore them. We follow them, yes, but we go beyond them. Then the qualification for this is just simply greed, lobha, nothing else. Just greed. And this greed is in all of us. It's a natural part of the spirit soul. It's in all of us. The spirit soul is pure by nature. Pure. But because we've been overcome by Maya, which is part of the interrelationships between Krishna, the Jiva, and Maya, we've become covered by it, being covered by the illusory energy. But the greed is there. It's there, but we just ask to transform that greed, material greed, into spiritual greed. To give a very easy example, we can all identify with. You can think of, say, your favorite preparation. And I was thinking, this morning I was thinking to show, like some time back for breakfast we would have one day a week, the cheesy toast. And on that day, the queue would be 3 times as long as for the normal breakfast. So on that just one specific day, the queue would be outside the door just for the cheesy toast. They were coming just for it. So that is just an example. So if that greed is there to attain the love of Godhead, that's what we have to do. We have to have the same type of greed. Krishna. And of course, to come to that level, we have to have a taste, ruchi. Just like those devotees who come for the cheesy toast, they have a taste for that cheesy toast. So we have also to have a taste for the spontaneous name. But also says, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, but for those who don't have a taste, you just follow Raganuga Bhakti. They just carry on following Vaidhi Bhakti. Just that if they have no taste or have no attraction for Raganuga Bhakti, they should just carry on following the process of Vaidhi Bhakti. And one day they'll come to that platform. So it says, of course this is done by the This is done, of course, by the mercy of as it says in the end of the purport here, but the spiritual master is mentioned in this purport. So in the 11th canto, chapter 3, verse 21, it says, Tasmad gurum prapapata devyata jinasya shreya uttamam sabbe pare cha nishtatanam brahme upaspatarayanam. Translation: therefore, any person who seriously desires real happiness must seek a bona fide spiritual master and take shelter of him by initiation. The qualification of the bona fide spiritual guru is that he has realized the conclusions of the scriptures by deliberation and able to convince others of these conclusions. Such great personalities who have taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Supreme Godhead, leaving aside all material considerations, should be understood to be a bona fide spiritual masters. There's one more here somewhere. here somewhere. Yeah. Also, it says in the Vedic literature, I'm not sure who the author is written by, Paramamamita 65 to 30. Karam Bhagavat Praptor Mahabhagavataya Iti Matvaduram Tashatisham Anya Bharyatate Sada. By taking shelter at lotus feet of a Mahabhagavat is the only means whereby we contain the Supreme Lord. Knowing this fact, you should follow his order with firm determination. And then it says in Adi Leela 1:46, Guru Krishna Rupa Hana Sastara Pranam Guru Rupa Krishna Kripa Karena Bhaktagane. According to the deliberate opinion of all real scriptures, the spiritual master is non-different from Krishna. Lord Krishna, in the form of the spiritual master, delivers his devotees. So the spiritual master has two forms. First, he is performing. We sing every morning, don't we? In the morning, how the spiritual master is serving Radha Krishna, and also we see that he is Kunja Yuno. He's serving in the kunjas in Loka Vrindavan. That is his spiritual sarup. That's his spiritual internal identity. But externally, he is acting externally as a spiritual master. He actually descends directly from the spiritual world, where in the spiritual world there's a creeper, a vine, coming from the spiritual world, coming down into the well, of the material world, where in that well is the living entities who are suffering due to the material existence they've been incarcerated with. And then he comes to this material world, and he's standing at the top of the well, and that creeper, that vine, he lowers down into the well, material world, and he just asks for that living entity. Just hold on tight to it and don't let go. Just hold on to it very tightly with firm hands and don't let go. And then I will pull you out of this material existence. Because it's mentioned where this material existence starts. It actually starts when we identify ourselves with the material body, and then on the platform of I, me, and mine. That's when the material existence begins. The samsara of birth, death, old age starts when we identify with the material body, and especially I, me, and mine. That's actually when material existence starts. And it finishes when we take association. It says, I think it says somewhere, association somewhere. When we take association of when we take sadhu sangha, when we take association of a sadhu, take shelter of a sadhu, that's when that material existence finishes. I mean full shelter, full surrender. At the moment, our surrender could be on 3 levels: conditional, partial, or artificial. No. But we have to fully surrender to that guru, that person, and deliberate whatever he said. What instructions he gives, we have to take, follow. So therefore we have to take shelter of the bona fide guru, follow his instructions, don't deviate from the instructions. Then we can. Then we will receive the mercy of the spiritual master. Without the spiritual master's mercy, we can. Without the spiritual master's mercy, we cannot get Krishna, and without Krishna's mercy, we cannot get Guru. Cannot. So we have to take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. And there's one verse I just saw just now. He said, if one is chastised by the spiritual master, one should just take it very seriously. If one is chastised by the spiritual master, one should think no harm has been done because it is for my benefit. And the spiritual master also, it can be very, very tricky sometimes. As I was sharing with Cyrus earlier, that in the beginning, Prabhupada, he said, just go out in Tottenham Square Park and chant Hare Krishna. They all did that. Go to this, They went there round the tree, chanting Hare Krishna. And when ISKCON was formally formed, registered, and then he said to them in one class, I heard this from one of the original 6 disciples. He said, Prabhupada told us, he said, pointing to the original 6, he said, I cheated you. He said, how you cheated me? I cheated us, he said. He said, this is some years after ISKCON was established. He said, I cheated you. Because if I told you all the rules and regulations, none of you would have come. None of you. So I just told you to chant Hare Krishna. Then later I introduced, the full regular principles, chanting 16 rounds. So I cheated you. I tricked you. So the Guru can be very tricky sometimes. So that's one of his many facets. He may say one thing and then say, But then you have to understand his mood he's in. Prabhupada's mood was, originally, apparently I read in the early days in Los Angeles, they were doing Harinam for years. There's one devotee in Radhakund now. He lives in Radhakund now. Last time I saw him, he was telling me they were doing Harinam 6 days a week, the whole day Harinam. And there's no morning program. They get up at 5 o'clock, chant their rounds, have breakfast, Harinam to 1 o'clock, have lunch, come back, lunch, and then Harinam to midnight, then come back, like that. That went on for some time. Then Prabhupada introduced the morning program. So Prabhupada, so the Guru can change, he can do this, he can establish boundaries, things to establish these things in the line of the acharyas, of course. So I'll finish there. Any questions or doubts or anything? Yeah? Yeah.
It's Bhagavad Gita. I always refer to Bhagavad Gita, for me anyway. It says, having obtained real knowledge from the self-realized soul, you'll never fall again into illusion, for by this knowledge you will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or in other words, they're mine. Even if you are considered the lowest of sinful sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. We are on the ocean of miseries now. Ocean of miseries. And the only one way out is that we, through the boat of sadhu sangha, through the boat of sadhus, that's the only way out. And if there's a storm, like we've had these storms recently in the UK, you don't jump overboard. If there's a storm on the sea, you don't jump overboard, and then you just take sadhu sangha. Yes, says Cyrus.
So Prabhu, is this love? He said to go back to Godhead. You have to go. You have to. Well, it's to possess love, or you have to. What was the exactly words he used? To go back to Godhead, that you have to be. You have to love.
Love, yes.
Let's use the word.
Love. You have to, yes.
You have to love, right?
Yes.
Is that love you achieve, or you become that when you see Krishna in everything?
No, it can, yes, but also there's a process that we have the 9 angas of bhakti, don't we? And the 64. The 9 processes of bhakti, and there's 64 angas of bhakti. So there's a process. So we have to develop love of God as well. There's a process of developing, but we have to follow that process.
Before you can see Krishna in everything.
No, basically, because we're so conditioned generally. But there are some rare souls who are on that level. Yes, definitely. There are some rare souls, yes. But generally, we have to follow the 9 in the process of bhakti, from Shraddha, Baba, and so on and so on. So it's the 64 angas. It's like, this is why I'm reading Jaiva Dharma for every day. And it's a story of this, it starts off with a Mayavadi sannyasi who hears the chanting, he hears Harinam Sankirtan in Benares from a Grasta guru, a Grasta devotee, and he realizes that I've come to the topmost level, sannyas, of Mayavadi sannyas. But this Maha Mantra from a Grahasta devotee has affected me more than reading all the sastras I have read. So from there, eventually goes to Mayapur Dham, takes shelter of a guru who teaches him, who teaches him through the stages, and then the book carries on where he finishes. Another devotees are introduced to carry on the process. So in the end, there's one devotee, Vijay Kumar, who leaves his body in Jagannath Puri. He attained, it says in the end, it said, he attained the perfection of life. And it says, in a short time, he attained perfection. Just as it says in what I read in the Bhagavad Gita, he attained perfection in his constitutional position, in his eternal Sarup, as Madhurya Ras. He was a Madhurya Ras. This devotee was a Madhurya Ras. So he attained perfection in Madhurya Ras through the process and his service, through his service. So love is there. It's not dormant. It's there. It is dormant, but because we're covered over by our conditioning, it seems like a thick covering to get through, but we have to develop it by the mercy of the Guru. So it's important to take shelter of a Guru. Very important. Okay. Hare Krishna. Jai. Boo. Boo, boo, boo. Boo, boo, boo. Boo, boo, boo. What time is it? Oh, it's only...
I'm fasting today, so we have for yeah, this is a special retreat.